What's good, everyone? So today we're gonna be doing the trade recap for Friday. I took two break-even trades, and I'll go over my thought process behind it and kind of what I was seeing, and kind of my bias for the day and that type of thing. So right off the bat, I had a pretty neutral bias. I feel like I did pretty well in having that neutral bias. So we've been selling off, right? Like the sell-off has been continuing to happen, right? Um, so we've been selling off, like from all time highs. It's just continuing to sell off, right? And we had a crazy day on Thursday. So our previous day's range stat was bearish. True day open ended up being irrelevant because it got traded through before any trades. It was also traded through in London, so pretty irrelevant there. And then yeah, so my context was price respected and old support zone that I have marked out, which is this low volume node slash 4 hour BPR. Pretty old support zone. I can actually go into the 4 hour and show you guys what I mean by that. It's a support zone from all the way back here. All the way back here. Um, I think it held once and then we never retested it again. Because, yeah. Let me see where I had it marked out. I believe it's when we. Like, it was support for a little bit. Like, it kind of held. It was a structure break. And it kind of held and then broke above it and then broke back below it and broke above it again. So it was like kind of a wacky area. I might actually delete this one because it's not clear. I don't know, but it respected it pretty well. So, like off the top of my head, it doesn't look like I can't remember the reasoning behind it. I think it was just like the low volume node itself that I marked out, and it kind of aligns with the 4 hour BPR. It being like maybe this 4 hour and gaps here, right? All of this. So like this support zone is actually pretty big. It should be like this. Um, so it held this resistance here once, twice, three times, kind of broke through it and then failed. And then we broke above it, held it twice. So this would be the third time we're testing it. So pretty old zone there. I think I just refined it to be the low volume node itself. But yeah, that's pretty much the support zone that I have marked out. We respected it pretty well. And we actually created a 30-minute fair value gap off of it. This was also off of news. I believe it was off of news. And if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong though. Was this the day that we had news? No. No, this wasn't it. This wasn't the day we had news. I think. Maybe not. I don't know. I can actually probably pull it up and see if we actually had news that day. I can't even remember anymore. But, I mean, yeah. But no, we didn't have pre-market news, which is what we're interested in. But yeah, we had a 30-minute fair value gap. This was also a 15-minute intermediate low. I personally didn't mark it out. I don't know why. But I marked out. It's the same thing as a 30-minute fair value gap. But I saw we respected the low volume node, made a higher low, and we were breaking higher. So I'm like, cool, this looks good to trade towards this 4 hour fair value gap. If we want to continue lower, that's fine. But to me, it's like it looks good to continue higher up until either the pre-market high or the 4 hour fair value gap if we get a retrace into this. If we just rip towards that, then I'd be looking for shorts whenever we hit one of these two. Right? So yeah, I could see longs to play out off of the 30-minute FEG. And if we reach the pre-market high, I wanted to be more cautious and thinking about potentially shorting if structure forms, which is what ended up happening. I tried along off of the 30-minute fair value gap with the pre-market high as my first target slash break-even point. And the first thing that I noticed on this trade is it was pretty early into the session. So if you're one that uses VWAP, like myself, the overnight VWAP has a lot of data on it off of open because it has data from session reopen at 6 p.m. up until 9:25 or 9:29 59, like right before open. So it has a lot of data behind it. New York VWAP off open, it doesn't have that much data, right? That's kind of like my thought process, and this is something that I'm gonna have to play by ear and see if it holds to be true or not. But I'm thinking New York VWAP might not be as strong as overnight VWAP on the first few minutes of open. I feel like it's also situational. There's days where the momentum is clear and we're clearly respecting New York VWAP, right? So I believe this is one of those days where I should have been more open to trading off of the overnight VWAP and the 30-minute fair value gap because it's two areas on alignment. We also have the value area low of the overnight session or overnight inventory, whatever you want to call it. So we trade. We kind of open a bit wacky. Oh shit! Sorry about that. I forgot to do this, but yeah, first 50 minutes kind of weird. Not really breaking through um, the value area high. Didn't reach our pre-market high, so we're still good to look for longs. But yeah, then we end up trading into this, and we wicked. This could have been an entry in and of itself, bro. Like this, I mean, it's an awful stop, in my opinion, but that's a 1R if you just target that pre-market high. That's a 1R. If you're a 1R trader, good trade right there. But I was looking at kind of like the back testing of it. Not really the back testing of it, but just looking at the pictures of what I was looking at that day, especially with Bookmap. And if we see, let me see where it is, like right here. If we wait for the failed selling to present itself and we break below above VWAP, overnight VWAP, break above it, try to get below it, and then reclaim it, right there, that's probably like 162. I said 163 to be like more generous on it, but look at that entry, 163. Let's say 163.50 to be kind of generous on the entry. That's your 2R right there. That should have been my entry. I think I let myself be too influenced by VWAP. So it's just kind of recognizing that in this case, the bias or the direction that I had for this trade came off of overnight plays, kind of that overnight inventory, right? So I should have been more open to trade this idea because we trade into the value area low of the session, right? Trade into it, wicked with strength, trade into the 30-minute fair value gap, sweep that 50-minute intermediate low, sweep this low right here. I'm pretty sure it's the same one. Make new session lows, fail to break lower, sustain that overnight VWAP. Maybe you wanted to see the failed selling and actually reclaim above overnight VWAP. That's also valid. If you wanted to see a reclaim, retest it, and then reclaim again, you got that. So that's what this trade idea would be. Basically this. Maybe you got this entry right here, aiming towards that high. That's your 2R. And you're covering commissions off it easily. But me personally, I didn't take that. What I took was something based off of this, which is I wanted to see us break through New York VWAP, and we did once, it kind of failed, did again, failed, and then we were actually like kind of just accumulating for a little bit, and then I wanted to see the tick chart, right? So looking at the tick chart, this was my entry, right? We clearly had some resistance up here. Once we broke above it, that was my entry. You can clearly see as soon as we break above it, like close above it on the tick chart, that's my entry, right? So that's my entry there, and after that, I was just like, cool, I'm good with this entry. And then I had my stop with tick chart structure. So like at the bottom of this range, I could have had it at the, like that move that broke it, like this low over here. But that's just something that's going to have to like adjust it based on time. But I know I was targeting this. My entry ended up being, let me see if I can find it. This right here. 24, 232.50, 24, 232.50, right? My stop was, let's see if I can find it. My stop was 168.25. So 168.25. My TP was 402 flat. Okay. So this is my entry, and it happened in the formation of this candle. You can see that that first candle is the one that took that pre-market high. As soon as we took that pre-market high, I went break even. And guess what happened? Got broke even. I'm glad that I did. Glad that I did, because pre-market highs and lows, like, same thing with like Asia highs, London lows, like those type of levels. If we don't break through them with strength, we're sweeping them and reversing. Like, it's rare for something not to happen once we take those levels. At least that's the way I see it. That's the way I analyze it. So yeah, that was my first target. I didn't like the idea of fully closing here because it wasn't even a 1R, right? And that's why I was saying, like, the ideal entry was lower, but I let myself be influenced by the VWAP itself, right? Which I'm fine with, right? I'm totally cool with this trade. My mentor was like, yeah, I don't like this trade because you're entering in the middle of the candle. And yeah, I'm like, I agree, right? If I got a better entry, my full close was that pre-market high, and that would have been just fine. And we have all these stacked, like, relative equal highs and stuff like that. Uh, so yeah, after this, seeing that volume, I'm like, okay, cool. Let me wait and see what happens here. And I ended up looking for shorts because, like I said earlier, after sweeping the pre-market high and noticing that the VWAPs were not holding, so our VWAPs were not holding at this point, um, we can clearly see we're like closing through them. I think after this is when I started looking for shorts. We put in this low, and I believe my entry happened in the formation of this candle, if I'm not mistaken. Once again, pretty, not like a bad entry, but not the best entry. You see this on the book map, and if you just entered off book map, just off of breaking that VWAP, that's a great entry. That's a great freaking entry. 24,200, like up here, that's a great entry, bro. Me personally, I let myself be influenced by the tech chart. As you can see, I ended up getting stopped out break even. But I was kind of watching this. Like, I wanted to see, I didn't see clear structure on the tech chart. And I just decided to wait for like a close. And it was just a lot of movement had already happened by the time I took my trade. So my entry was 24,149, so not great at all, actually. So 149.75 was my entry, and I had a very wide stop, which I didn't like. 224.50, I believe, was my stop, and I was targeting this low all the way down here, which is nearly 200 points for a 2.64R. And this took that low, I think, here. Yeah, took that low. This candle actually ended up trading lower and then ended up trading higher. By the time we broke the low, I went break even. So by the time we broke the low that I had marked out there, I went break even because I told myself, okay, cool. If we break this, we're flushing. And that's one way of seeing it. Another way of seeing it is, so my mentor called me out on this because I was up at a certain point on this trade. I was up 120 points. I was up 1.64R, which is good, and I didn't take profits. I just went break even. Like, he got pissed at me. I was like, oh damn. But there's a few takeaways here in my eyes. Is my entry will say, if my entry was better, right, I could have simply taken full profits at that low, right? Just full profits right there. But I didn't. And I think that's okay because, like, oh, shoot. Sorry about that. A little sit. But this, funny enough, ended up stopping me out. And then it went to full target. I think after this, it actually ended up reversing. Funny enough, but yeah, the trade idea was good. I think the entry was not the best, and the few takeaways that I got from being yelled at by my mentor, kind of just my personal, like introspection was my entry should have been better, and it's a matter of like the tick chart would not was kind of unable to give me a good entry. Book map in and of itself did. So this right here, just looking at it, right? It's like you see all that fail buying. If we start failing, you should be in around 185, 24 185. Just that, like 185. Let's say you got in 185. That's a great entry, bro. That's a great freaking entry. TP there at this low. That's nearly a 3R. You want to aim for the 3R? Be my freaking guest, bro. You could aim for the 4R. Yeah, 4R, which is crazy. Like, being able to pull off a 39-point stop in this market is crazy. Because we were having 100-point candles. Like, we were having 180 point, like 80-point candles, 100-point candles on the 5 minute. So it was pretty wacky in that sense. And if you're good with that, this is like dreamland for you. For me, it kind of didn't play in my favor, unfortunately. So yeah, I think entries on both of these trades could have been better. That's all it is. Because at the end of the day, my stops were wide, so I was aiming for higher targets to get good RR. My Whenever I said that, my mentor got pissed, and he was like, "It doesn't freaking matter. It does not freaking matter. If you adjust your stops mid trade, the RR it gets immediately better." And that's another thing that I don't really think about. It's like once I adjust my stop, what's my R, right? So that's something that I like kind of have to get through my head. Is that if I adjust my stop, immediately the RR on the trade gets better. But yeah, it's also like the adjusted RR because you've adjusted your stop loss. It wasn't the initial planned RR. So I usually base myself off of like to see my stats. I base myself off of what's the planned RR on this, and yeah, so I feel like there's a few things, right? The entry could have been better. Trade management could have been a bit more aggressive with the stops, especially on this one, since I had a wide stop and a wider target. Um, and then another thing is, um, like being more comfortable with taking partials at that first target. Um, I feel like that's something I could have done on both trades, regardless of the RR. And then another thing was, I forgot what the other thing was. The other thing was it's that like being comfortable with just letting the trade run, not adjust my stop. That's something that's like, it's to me it's debatable. It's hard to get my that through my mind because I'm thinking like, okay, why would I not go break even once we reach a point where we could reverse off of? You know what I mean? Like when I saw this low, I'm like, if we break through this low, I want to see us flush through. I don't want to see us reverse from that. And we actually got a pretty good reaction off that low. Like from that low to the high that we retraced 130 points. If you're in with good size, losing 130 points is pretty crazy. Um, so yeah. Um, so a few takeaways. I feel like it's situational, right? These type of days, I feel like they are more common nowadays. But I feel like this day specifically was very weird. It was very weird. I think there was OPEX today, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's something to learn from there. Is just like manage your trades better. But yeah, no, it all really comes down to the entry itself. I feel like the tick charts have helped me pretty well, but it's also like, oh, sorry about that. It's also a matter of being, what's it called? It's a matter of just being more like, I guess like I don't really know what to say. Like being more confident in my analysis because I feel like the New York VWAP off of what 1, 2, 3, 50 minutes of price action, I it influenced my decision making, which is okay, but it's like how many confluences do I already have? You know what I mean? Value area low, the fair value gap, overnight VWAP. That's three. That's three right there. I'm pretty sure this is also a freaking fib level. If you look at it, 382, damn near the point 0.5. If you take it from this pivot, that's a point 0.5. So, four confluences right there. I just wanted to see the New York VWAP break. But I feel like with that many confluences, seeing all the other confluences play out, just have it recover above overnight VWAP. Take it, right? That's a pretty dang good takeaway. Not gonna lie. Um, so yeah, it's just realizing how many confluences are in my favor, and just like the confluences that I use, right, for value gaps, VWAPs, volume profiles, value area high and low, POC. The only thing that was like against me was that VWAP on the New York VWAP on that first trade. On the second trade, I didn't even wait for the like we retested over New York VWAP, and I think I did wait for the overnight VWAP break. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I waited for the overnight VWAP break. That's another thing, right? So it's just iffy, you know. It's just iffy. So it is what it is. Not really mad about it, but you live and you learn, and I feel like this is a pretty good trading day to learn from. And yeah, we did a good job. Uh, could have been better. Yeah, sure. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas, and not gonna try to get too caught up on those. Had two break even days. Still have like 12, I believe, 12 more days till the rebuild on the top step account. So I feel like we can pass it. Not gonna lie, I feel like we can pass it in that amount of time. If I look at my dashboard, right, or my freaking top step X, right. Let me see if I can pull it up. My performance stats. Like we had 55% is pretty dang good. It's just like getting actually full take profits because like our average RR is looks bad right now because we had a lot of break even so far. We had a full DLL day, so yeah, there hasn't been a lot of trading going on. I feel like this past week I was kind of not gonna lie, I was kind of scared to take a trade because I took a full DLL. So I'm like, damn, like I'm gonna have to recover from this. So yeah, I feel like we could still recover from this. This rebuilds on not this Friday, but the next one, and yeah, I mean, it's like we're pretty dang near our break even point. We have some drawdown to work with, and I feel like we can pull it off if we just have great trades. Like if we just have like a solid winning streak, I feel like we can pull this off. Um, like great winning streak with great RR trades, it can be pretty dang great. I'm not gonna lie. So, yeah, that pretty much wraps up today's trading recap. Jesus, why is this not? There we go. That pretty much wraps up today's trading recap. Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, hopefully I'll catch y'all tomorrow with a banger trade. But yeah, hopefully I'll catch y'all on the next one with, like I said, a banger trade. All right, y'all. See y'all. Peace.